Okay, so we have a very interesting thing here. Riot XR notes they're moving the MMR system to a new one soon, and later to TrueSkill 2 later this year. We're moving to a different proprietary, Riot-made system, okay? So it's still made by them. At the start of the new year-ish, and then tentatively planning on moving to a new system later in the year called TrueSkill 2, so it doesn't state that it's theirs. So I'm guessing they're making a bridge system that's TrueSkill 2-esque, but Riot design, and they're gonna move to like a third party, I'm guessing. We're still evaluating on TrueSkill for now, but it sounds promising. We'll share more info when we have it. There are already some changes in place for the start of the new split that should help put new accounts in appropriate rank placement. And also, some other changes that should make getting into a negative LP state much more difficult. Think -30 plus 20. Generally, why this -30 plus 20 exists is Riot tries to maximize players' enjoyment of the game. Let's say you're playing a game and you lose like 7 in a row. You're getting absolutely smacked. You're getting destroyed and you're like gold 4-0 LP. The game doesn't want you to drop out because then you're gonna feel bad. So maximizing satisfaction, but then you lost a lot of games that the game doesn't want you to lose too much. The game doesn't want you to lose 10-20 games in a row because then you're not maximizing your enjoyment. So what does the game do? The game's gonna start putting you into silver and iron and bronze lobbies. You're gonna be playing with much lower ranks than you because the system has deemed that you're incapable of handling yourself in the elo that your visible elo states. Because it's so weird because you have MMR and elo and then they go out of sync in that case. So the game's gonna constantly put you in really lower elo games for the sake of you having a roughly 50-50 chance to win. Sometimes the system will be wrong, and in those cases the most vile, but even when it's not, getting -30 plus 20 is demoralizing and horrible, and that account is dead, you might as well start a new one. But that's what the system is doing. And if you remove the layering on top of it, the abstraction on top, which is the LP, if you remove that, the system makes perfect sense. Because you're not gold elo, you're not 1500 elo, you're 1200, and you're playing with 1200 players. That's it. But because one is absurdly high and out of sync, they have to limit your gains in order for you to not climb way above your elo. All of this you can solve by just removing that. Okay, you remove the layering, everyone's playing elo system determines your banner, and you will always roughly be getting the same as you're losing. Because it's just annoying to have to play like 100 games to equalize MMR. It just makes no sense. They should just go back to elo and it would be very cool. We'll have to see what actually happens in practice though. I suspect there will be many adjustments, corrections, bug fixes over the course of the year. I hate this. I really despise that there are changes to how LP gains MMR works during real life season. It completely invalidates all sort of climbing. It's super shit, but I'm happy that they're doing something. I'm really happy that they're doing something. I'm confident we'll be in better spot regardless. Also, that's kind of interesting. I don't know who XR is, so I know how much his confidence means, but generally speaking, confidence means good things. No, they're not using the TrueSkill 2. They're going to be moving to a different proprietary Riot-made system. So they're not going to be using the current one. They're going to be using a different Riot system at the start of the new year. So when the season starts, we're going to get to witness a new system. Whether it's good or bad, we're going to get millions of complaints on Twitter. So it's not going to be a good metric to evaluate. We're going to have to look at this in general, and they're going to be using that as a jumping thing. So they're going to jump off of that one to TrueSkill 2 later this year. Okay, let's check the research paper. So what is actually TrueSkill? An improved Bayesian skill rating system. Online multiplayer games such as Gears of War and Halo use skill-based matchmaking to give players fair and enjoyable matches that depend on our skill rating system to infer accurate player skills from historical data. TrueSkill is a popular and effective skill rating system. I've seen so many people cry about this and saying you cannot just look at KDA. You can't. These systems are going to be more sophisticated than that. Like even goddamn OPGG system is not terrible. Like OPG system is fairly sophisticated right now at providing you aces, knowing when you performed, knowing when you're all right. And they don't even look up all the data. It's not that great. Everyone's saying like rip Bows, rip Katarina, rip whatever like coin flip people do, like just perma fighting. KDA is just one of the predictors. And different characters play differently with KDA. Like, you can do this very well. Now, one way to solve it is to make it so the rewards are tiny. Tiny rewards are good. Like, let's say you perform the best, you get extra 2-3 LP. That's great. Like, you're gonna feel so much better. You're gonna feel good. You're gonna get rewarded for it, but it's not gonna be a massive thing. It's not gonna create crazy disparity in the ladder to make it abusable. That's all right. That's one of the solutions. Other solutions that I came up with could work, again, with small rewards, but it's player voted MVP. If you get 4 honors, owners after the game, you get like extra 30% LP. If you get 3 owners, you get 15% LP. If you get 2 owners, you get extra 10% LP or something like that. Minor differences, but it's player voted, and it's hard to manipulate all players to vote for you. Players are like, voting should be mandatory at the end of the game basically, and people can kind of vote. Now there's also concerns like, oh, what wouldn't that just benefit like players who are typing positively, trying to win and all of that? Yeah, that's actually a cool thing. If you have a player who's pleasant to play with, yeah, honor them. Like, hell yeah, maybe they don't perform the best, honor them. TrueSkill model modifies the classic model in the following ways. Players' latent skills inferred from their individual statistics such as skill and death counts, in addition to team win-loss. Okay, so this is the worrying thing, how it's done. This could make sense if it's compared to unique bubbles of you playing that specific champ, because different champs have different KDAs. Like, for example, dying on Zac is much more difficult than dying on a different type of engaged character. When a player quits or drops out in the middle of the game, it is treated as a surrender, and their skill is updated as if they lost the game, regardless of actual outcome. Good. Player skill in the game mode is assumed statistically correlated with their skill in other modes. So when a player starts a new mode, their skill rating from other modes is borrowed. I think they use this already to an extent. I think if you play normal games, you're going to pull a little bit of from your ranked MMR, and when you start ranked first time, it's going to pull from your normals. Digging deeper into the data, we found that the players who quit have worse individual statistics than players compete. No fucking way! Maybe people are also crying and typing and giving up and surrendering and forcing people to leave and trying to end the game as soon as possible and griefing. Maybe they're actually lower performers. Crazy. Who would have guessed? This suggests that players quit more when their performance is low. TrueSkill 2 lowers the player's skill rating after a quit, but a bit more than it should. So quitters are gonna have worse algorithm on TrueSkill 2. This is definitely promising. TrueSkill makes your KDA get you more LP. I don't think it's that simple. I'm pretty sure they're gonna be thinking about that in advance and not trying to lock themselves into AFK jungling, into split push top laners, into supports who play enchanters and never die. I'm pretty sure they're gonna be looking that across roles, across champions who play, across different comparison on server, on the game, whether the game has that many kills. If a game has 60 kills in 20 minutes, obviously your KDA is going to be like different. So I think that's going to be accounted for to a good degree. Now, how accurately can they predict your skill? I would bet that the modern technology channeled in a right way could do great things. Does it consider APM? I don't think it's going to be even sophisticated to look at your movement, your inputs, your proximity to the current objective that's active. Like if there's a dragon fight and you're not on dragon, I don't think it's going to give you a lesser score. And that would be crazy intense on the system. So at best they can look at your stats and compare them to everybody in that game, compare them to everybody on your server, compare them to everybody who's playing your champ and all that. It's not going to be as simple as gold income KDA. I don't think it's going to be as simple. I think they're going to be using gold income and KDA to come up with this efficiency factor or TrueSkill rating. And this efficiency factor will be a thing in your role and your champ specific, and they're going to use that to measure your performance. And I think it's going to be fairly accurate. That's my prediction. I think everyone's like crying about this, thinking it's going to be dire and it's going to just promote KDA. I think this is going to be part of it, and it might be interesting.